It's been a little while. I didn't do a rewatch for this list, but anyone of a certain age has seen The Bad News Bears. And if you haven't seen The Bad News Bears, you've seen one of the many, many, many. I didn't count them up. I probably should have. I didn't do that part of the homework. But when you look at a film that is so successful, it spawns multiple sequels of decreasing quality as they go along. That does reflect on the success and how good and how well achieved the original film was. And the original Bad News Bears comes out in 1976. There's no way you could make this film nowadays because, well, Walter Mathau of The Odd Couple and of Grumpy Old Men, classic Hollywood actor Walter Mathau, plays an alcoholic, a hardcore alcoholic, whose sentence is to coach children. This is not a good idea. Why is this an idea that the legal system would propose? But yet somehow the alcoholic coach in Walter Mathau takes his Bad News Bears and they make a run to the championship. A lot of the characters in this film are great archetypes. You have Kelly Slater, the bad boy, who's got the motorbike, who's probably theoretically a little bit too old to be playing in Little League, but they still managed to get him in the game. You have Tatum O'Neal, Ryan O'Neal's daughter, who would eventually get an Oscar nomination or win, I forget which, for Paper Moon, playing the girl, playing baseball. You have the collection of oddballs and misfits and rejects, and somehow this is the team that finds a way to come together and win the big game and spur on tons of sequels. So it's one of those things where Bad News Bears is very much a product of its time. It came out in 1976. It is a lot of fun. It is great. It's simple storytelling. It's not based off of anything real as far as I can tell, but it is inspirational to all of those Little League teams that are not the Little League All-Stars that go on to play in the Little League World Series every year. This is not dedicated to all those teams playing on ESPN every August, July and August. This is the misfits, the forgottens, the looked overs, the left behinds. This is everyone but the kids in the Little League World Series, and yet somehow they still find a way to come together and win. And that is why it is number 6 on my list. Thoughts on the Bad News Bears?
I had a huge crush on Tatum O'Neal because I was 16 when that movie came out, and she's gorgeous. My heart was broken when she married that dork John McEnroe, so that killed me.
Those darn tennis players.
The one thing I noticed about that movie, because I'm 16 years old, I'm playing ball, is that Walter Mathau has a can of beer in his hand the entire time he's coaching. He never goes out there and shows during practice. When you coach baseball, your coach shows you, get down on the ball, hold your hands like this. He just, dude, it was just a drunk. And you're right. As entertaining as it was unrealistic, but it worked.
A can of beer in his hand the entire time, and even the Movie Pass poster has him smoking a cigar. Can you imagine? I mean, we've got a lot of great Little League teams that have gone to the Little League World Series here in Las Vegas. Can you imagine any of the coaches nowadays showing up to a ballpark around all those kids with a can of beer and a cigar? Those coaches would be kicked out immediately, and yet somehow in the 1970s, he was a role model.
I want to jump on that and kind of segue into my dad. Got me into sports. Huge sports fan. Huge baseball guy. He's a Hall of Fame baseball player at the high school he went to. And you talk about that. And I remember what got me into the Raiders, and you say, kid, come here. And he would show Kenny Stabler, the quarterback of the Raiders. He's sitting on the sideline. He's smoking a cigarette and drinking a Coors. And we're so woke culture right now. I'm thinking, what's wrong with that? But guys, if you're winning the game 37-0 and you're having a beer because people in the stands are having a beer, you're not going back in the game. Have a freaking cigarette. But again, we can't. A lot of things you can't do nowadays that they did back then. You're right. I hate that. I hate when we say about films they could never do that today. Why not do it today? Be yourself. I'm just making a political statement on Dragon Movie Guy's baseball thing, because I thought that was great that he drank a beer in the dugout. He never sat there and offered a beer to the kids. He wasn't sitting there saying, hey, by the way, just get a double, go get a beer. No.
Well, and if I remember right, Kenny Stabler, he was actually drinking Coors, not Coors Light. He was drinking the original OG Coors, if I remember right. So
Yeah.
that would be fascinating to see him do that. It'd be fascinating and anyone to try and do that nowadays with the way we all are, and just with the way health and nutrition and all that kind of stuff. No one could really get away with that with everything.
That's a whole other podcast, buddy.
Yeah.